After Pisistratus died, his two sons, Hippias and Hipparchus, ruled over Athens. They governed well until Hipparchus was killed by his enemies. Then Hippias became so cruel that the Athenians drove him out of the city. Sometime after being driven from Athens, Hippias went to Asia and begged Darius, sometimes pronounced Darius, the king of Persia, to help him regain his power. At that time, Persia was the greatest country in the world. Darius, the sovereign, was called the Great King, or simply the King, as if there were no other king on the planet, and he intended that there should not be any other king. He made up his mind not only to help Hippias, but also to make himself master of Greece. Persian heralds were sent to every state in Greece to demand tribute, a tribute of earth and water. If the Greeks had yielded to this demand, it would have been the same as saying that all the land and water in Greece belonged to Persia. Some of the states submitted to Persia. Others proudly refused. The Athenians threw the bodies of the heralds into a ditch in which the bodies of criminals were thrown. The Spartans, not to be outdone, threw them into a well and told them, "There you will find both earth and water for your master." As soon as Darius heard of this, he declared war. Soon his fleet, carrying 150,000 men, set sail for Greece. The Persians landed on the Grecian coast, and they went into the camp on the plain of Marathon. Meanwhile, the Athenians had not been idle. They had collected an army of 10,000 men. The entire army was under 2 generals, each of whom in turn was commander for a day. The little city of Plataea had sent 1,000 volunteers unasked. The ablest of the Greek generals was Miltiades. He determined to attack the enemy at once. And when his day of command came, on the 12th of August, 490 B.C., he drew up the Greek army in line of battle and moved across the plain. Then he charged on the Persian army, broke their line, and drove them back to their ships in confusion. News of the victory was carried to Athens by a soldier who, though wounded, ran the 22 miles from the field of battle to the city. Reaching the marketplace, he rushed into the crowd, and he cried, "Rejoice, rejoice, we are victors!" and fell dead. The news of the victory delighted all the loyal Athenians, but it was very unwelcome to some traitors who had been hoping for a Persian victory. These traders had gone to a mountain near Athens, and with a polished shield they had flashed a signal to the Persian fleet, telling them to sail to Athens and capture the city before Miltiades could return from Marathon. Fortunately, the signal was seen in the camp of the Greeks. Miltiades guessed immediately what it meant, and he marched back to Athens. When the Persians approached in their ships, they realized they would have to meet the army of Miltiades again if they landed. Because they had no desire to do this, they sailed away across the Aegean back to the great king's own dominions. The Battle of Marathon had shown that the Greeks were equal to any soldiers in the world. They had routed an army of Persians 15 times as large as their own, and had lost only 192 men. The Greeks believed that this splendid victory was won through the aid of their gods and their godlike hero, Theseus, who was said to have fought in the thick of the battle and made terrible havoc among the Persians. Miltiades won great fame in Athens. Honors were showered upon him, and whatever he asked for was granted. Thinking that it would add still more to his own glory and that of Athens, he asked the city of Athens to place a fleet of 70 ships at his command. His request was granted, and he set sail for the island of Paros. The people of Paros had helped the Persians in the recent war, and Miltiades wished to punish them for doing so. He also hoped to avenge himself on a personal enemy. The expedition was a complete failure. The town of Paros was not captured, and Miltiades was obliged to give up the siege and return to Athens. At Paros, Miltiades' thigh was badly injured as he was leaping over a fence. Miltiades came home injured as well as unsuccessful. Upon his return, he was accused of having deceived the people and wasted public money. When his trial took place, he was brought before the judges on a couch because he was too weak to stand or sit. The decision of the court was against him. He was sentenced to a heavy fine. He did not have enough money to pay the fine. Not long afterwards, he died of the injury he had received at Paros. After the death of Miltiades, the Athenians were sorry that they had been so harsh in their treatment of him. Remembering only his heroism at Marathon, they buried him with the highest honors on the plain where the great victory had been won.